I always know when something's important because you get a doctor's appointment a lot quicker.
Maggie was having checkups on a regular basis, and he said
They found cancer had eaten clear through my bone, and it was to a point where they had to put a rod down my arm to stabilize that so that I wouldn't just fracture it just picking up a book or something. At that point, they found 4 more tumors, so I had 5 tumors. Within 3 months, I had developed 5 tumors.
And it obviously set off all of our alarm bells. And Maggie was treated.
I started chemotherapy as well as radiation for those. It is a very deadly cancer. It's considered incurable. And they said I would have 18 months to 3 years. So that causes a whole different perspective on your life. You know, when you get news like that, you don't know, should you live life cautiously or should you take risks? And I was riding in the car with Roger's mother, who is a very cautious person. And we were just driving down the road towards a stoplight, and it was green. But she had taken her foot off the accelerator, and we were coasting. And I'm starting to get concerned that someone's going to run into us from the back. And then the light turns yellow, and she stops. And then, obviously, it turns red. And she just turned to me and said, "I knew it was going to do that." And I thought, okay, if I know that the light's yellow, am I going to either stop because I know that my life's going to end, or am I going to gun it and go through the light? So I kind of made the choice to gun it and go through the light. That was kind of, I think, my approach that we had. And it really caused me to think through if this is, first of all, my dad had died of a heart attack, and so I know how quickly someone had gone. And so it didn't look like God was taking me home that way. He was giving me some time. So the question for me was, why was God giving me a warning? Why was He giving me time? What was it that He wanted to do in and through my life during those months? Because I wanted to at least to be able to give to my family during that period of time. I wanted to end strong. So we had some precious, precious time with the family. Even though the chemotherapy almost killed me, I did respond well enough that they said I could have a bone marrow transplant. And so that summer we went through that, not knowing if I would even make it through the bone marrow transplant. In the midst of the transplant, I developed pneumonia, and there was one night when I went to sleep that I had no conviction that I would ever wake up again. But the Lord brought me through it, and it was amazing. I still ask why God chose to put His hand of grace on me in my life.
I'm sure glad He did.
I know. I think it gives me a different perspective on every morning. And just having me lay there and breathe pleased Him. And so even when we can't do, we can still be and worship Him in our hearts and our spirits. And I woke up this morning. You know, I have a sense that He allowed me to wake up this morning. So He must have something that He wants me to do. And I'm glad for that perspective. It's something that I don't ever want to lose.
Maggie actually has a label for what we all have, which is the fact that we're going to die somehow. Something's going to take our life. She has a label on hers, and maybe a period of time. And in her case, she gets reminded of it at this point every 3 months when she goes back in for another checkup and tests. And so it creates a urgency of life that's very different than you can ever imagine. And so God in His grace knows how to give good gifts to His children, and it would have been good gifts even if she hadn't made it through that. But on the other hand, we can rejoice in that for some reason He's chosen to give her this extra time.
It's still considered incurable. It will come back. Each time I go every 3 months, the numbers are higher. And we'll face that when we get there. But it's exciting to experience each day full of grace
Yes.
and with the privilege of being able to serve Him.